Welcome back, Sleepyheads, to another episode of Sleepy Aliens Perspective. I'm your host, Leigh. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for supporting me. So this is a continuation of the first part of my deep dive. I just realized, I was rambling, so I was like, this is getting a little long, so we had to pause it. But we left out talking about how the human trafficking industry is a $150 billion industry, and sex trafficking is a $99 billion industry. So of course you think that's a lot of money for a street pimp, and you also think politicians, entertainers, oh my. So I will be keeping this conspiracy PG-13. This is not a deep state video. Like, we're not going to go into anything deep here because all the information I'm going to present to you speaks for itself. And at this point, to me, it's obvious. So we're just gonna dive into it. But that was another little heads up. So on February 7th, 2022, a man named Eddie Lewis the West III was sentenced to 104 days in prison and 3 years of supervised release for trafficking adult victims from California to Bend, Oregon. So what's interesting about this case is that the FBI, yes, the FBI was in town. So the FBI, along with multiple Oregon police departments, assisted in this investigation. And another thing to note is that Eddie West used a website called Skip the Games to sell the victims. So, skip the games. Yes, this is illegal. Skip the games. Yes, I'm committing a crime. Skip the games. Who knows? This could be a cop. Skip the games. Skip the games. These stupid names. Who thinks of this? I guess it's not that surprising in a way. But, yeah, but something to think about that is that you had the FBI and you had multiple Oregon police departments, and you have one suspect that we're hearing about from this case, and that's Eddie West. Eddie Lewis. Eddie. It's Eddie. Eddie. That's the only suspect we're hearing about. So we're like, whoa, that was a huge case. I can't believe that happened. And you were given some semblance of justice achieved by this one suspect, going to prison and serving this amount of time, but we don't know anything about the story, about the case, so it's just something to keep in mind, yeah, it's something to keep in mind. I didn't know I was going to go with that for a second, but okay, so though a few sex trafficking stories make it to the public, of course what I'm getting at is that a lot is being left out, a lot that we don't know. That's a lot of police officials, that's a lot of manpower, that's a lot of investigative hours, that's a lot of resources, public resources. And yet, we don't really know the full scope of anything. And of course, we'll get into it more, but yeah, of course, they can say that they need certain information, to protect their investigations, but a lot of times that comes at a detriment to the civilians, out there. So yeah, why don't we read or hear more about Oregon sex trafficking? And this is my theory, and I believe it is information suppression. And information suppression, it happens because we have police who are trying to protect the economic and social stability within community. And of course they want to paint the idea that everything's healthy, everything's running really smooth, and they have to just keep portraying and giving you the reasons to get up out of bed every day, go to work, for people to go to school, for institutions to stay, as high functioning as they are, and for the public to keep relying on these institutions in these situations, right? And I mean, it's probably not that conscious for every police officer out there. They're not thinking about that. But in a larger scope, that's what they're doing as a collective. So that's something to think about. But another element to that is information gets suppressed when people's livelihoods become threatened, right? And it gets even more entangled when it involves multiple players who now have to work together to suppress information. And this is how we build our criminal network, right? And this is why criminals need each other, and police agencies need each other. Like, it's a collective effort on both ends of that spectrum there. But it's something to think about, and we're going to get into this more. But remember that it's when those individual livelihoods are threatened, that's when that information gets suppressed. So how does sex trafficking impact Oregon directly? So other than the victims and the innocent children and adult individuals impacted and the higher crime rates, you also have to think about the fact that there are still vulnerable children out here in the state. And if this issue is proliferating more than people are aware of, I don't know, that's the detriment of that lack of transparency sometimes, right? It's almost making people too comfortable in a sense. Of course, always feel safe, but sometimes it's like, what is happening here? Like, for example, I used to work like the late night shift cashiering, and one night around, I think it was like at least maybe 8:40ish, two boys, like they couldn't be more than 12 years old, and that's a stretch in my mind. They park their bikes by the registers, they proceed to grocery shop, and if you're just tuning in, the grocery shop that I work at, it's a pretty bougie. It's like really good organic food, and like it's just a whole nother level of like a customer experience you can have in that store. And it's the only store you'll want to stay in for a long time in grocery shop. Like, it's not like Walmart. Like, once I was shopping at Walmart, this lady literally behind me was coming in, and she said, "I hate this place." And she just mouthed it to herself, and I think it just made her sad that she had to budget in that way. But anyways, I don't want to get off topic. But shoot, I did forget where I was going with that. I completely forgot what I was going with that. But maybe it'll come back to me. No, it's not coming back to me. But we were talking about why this issue is important in Oregon. Of course, kids are vulnerable. And there is an Oregon native, Casey Trahan, and she is the co-founder of A Village of One. And this organization supports... Oh, I was telling a story. I'm sorry. I'm forgetting. See, that's why when I jump from different topics, sometimes I mess my own self up. But how did I get to that Walmart? Oh, yeah. Oh, I was talking about the grocery store I work at. I was telling that story about the little boys. Okay. So, yeah, this grocery store is bougie. So these boys, kids who come in this store, like, they buy, like, baguettes and organic candy and energy drinks and, like, $3 glass bottled soda. And, like, I don't know, these kids in this neighborhood that I work in, like, a lot of their parents work at Nike or Intel or Patagonia or these big corporations here in Oregon. So a lot of them do have higher income, but they have their own credit cards and debit cards. It's crazy to see, but at the same time, a lot of these kids are very sweet. I have a motherly affinity for them, but they're rarely. I mean, well, some, just the ones that come in posses, like overnight, because we're like the hangout spot for some of these kids, and they just like throw food around like the dining area. It's just like, and for kids of like that social like income and where their parents are at, I'm just like, you know what, go be a vandal somewhere else. Come on, respect us. Nobody wants to clean your shit. Anyways, that's a whole nother story. But these 12-year-old boys are shopping and they're buying like salad and dressing, and like one is really mean and he's like yelling at the other and bossing him around. And it's not the first time I've encountered these boys, but it was like, yeah, it was the first time I'd seen them like that late, you know, and it just really threw me off. But yeah, they were buying this full-on dinner, and you know, they had Apple Pay, and so they paid and everything, but they were out that late. So that's how comfortable some people are letting their children be out and about. And at that age, I could like hardly just go to the gas station without like getting permission and going at a certain hour. Like I didn't really do sleepovers or any of that stuff as a kid. Which I totally get. Like, as I said, like if you're a parent, like rules are their way of like building safety barriers, you know? So I don't take it personally, but it just blew my mind that those kids were out that late. And I just want to give you a sense of, yeah, what some people are like in these Oregon communities. So Cassie Trahan, this co-founder of this nonprofit that supports children who've been sexually exploited. But yeah, so she, other than the amazing work she has done, she is quoted as saying, "It really happens to the girl, the boy, the transgender next door. The reality is, it's huge. These kids are born here. These kids are raised here. They are sold here, and they are purchased here by members of the community." And let me say that one more time. "And they are purchased here by members of the community." And I end this episode highlighting that phrase, "purchased here by members of the community." And we're going to explore this topic deeper in the next part of this series. And we're going to get examples of those community members and their sexual exploits, their illegal sexual exploits. But yeah, so I hope you guys found that interesting. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for supporting me. I am H. Leigh. If you feel so as inclined to, because I am really enjoying making these videos and I would like to do this more, so please donate below. I did put some links down there. I have an artist and I'm bursting with ideas, and I literally have a wall of all the videos that I want to make, but you know, I still have to work full time and I can only dedicate so much time to that without collapsing in the middle of the street. But yeah, so please donate if you can, and even though I'm sure this is a spell, please like, share, and subscribe. Support this channel. Thank you. Thank you. And I'll see you next time, sleepyheads. Bye.